Steve Gamache here with another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review, and this time we are looking at the Kohetsu Yo or Western handled blue number 2 Sujihiki 270mm knife. As mentioned, this line of knives has a core steel of Aogami or blue paper number 2 Hitachi reactive high carbon steel. Heat treats about 62 Rockwell on that core steel. The cladding on this is a soft stainless, so the construction is a 3-layer sandwich with soft stainless on either side of that core steel. Until you get a patina like I did on the 270 Gyuto, it's not super obvious where the cladding is, at least on video. It's kind of hard to tell. Once you start cutting stuff, you'll see exactly where the cladding line is. I'll see if I can show it to you. But the weight on this is about 7.2 ounces, 203 grams, so it's got a little bit of weight to it, some nice heft to it. This entire line screams to me professional kitchen, or just want a real nice economical workhorse for home. Edge length is about 268 on the edge, about 10.5 inches, and the overall length is about 15.3 inches on this knife, and they should all be pretty darn similar. The spine thickness coming out of the handle above the back of the blade is about 2.9 millimeters, and then it kind of holds that and then shrinks down just a little bit and a little bit and a little bit more taper towards the last maybe 3 inches of the blade, and then it thins out to a reasonably thin tip. It's not super skinny, but it does thin out pretty nicely towards the tip. The blade height is 41 millimeters at the heel, and let's take a close-up look at this. These are pretty stout, but they've got just a little bit of give to them in the front half of the blade. So we've had a user recently on the Chef Knives to Go forums that was looking for a blade, and he just said he wanted something stiff but not too stiff with just a little bit of flex, and this might meet that perfectly. It's definitely not as flexible as some knives, but it's not super stiff like some of the thick spine hammered knives either, so kind of a nice middle ground. The knives are machine finished. You can see they've got screened on kanji with the steel labeled right there. And I don't know if you can quite see, they've got kind of a polished edge on these. Real nice edge out of the box. I'll give it a good 6 out of 10. You could just kind of barely see the cladding line there, but it shows up real nicely once you start cutting stuff. Good fit and finish on the blade itself. Nothing super spectacular, but very serviceable. Rounded spine just slightly on the edges, and as well the choil, so sharp out of the box. So these babies, you can just pull them out and start working. The handles are just kind of basic black pack of wood, which is stabilized wood. This has an appropriately sized handle, given you need a little clearance on it, and it's got some length to it, so it should fit a quite wide variety of hand sizes. The edges are slightly more squared off versus really rounded, but really it's still pretty comfortable. You've got a nice kind of bevel on the front of the knife for kind of a little bit of a simulated bolster, and it really makes it pretty comfortable. Trying to think what else to say about it. The cladding on these in practice tends to be a little bit on the semi-stainless side, where it'll tend to stain and show some patina as well, which really does look pretty cool. So I would not say it's full stainless. They've all seemed to kind of have that characteristic, but this is a workhorse knife that'll get a lot of work done. It's great construction and great core steel that sharpens up super sharp. And so it's a really economical choice as well. Just a really nice performing line. The only other thing you might want to pay attention to, which really is true in all of these, is sometimes there can be a slight gap towards the front of the handle where it meets the tang. The tang kind of thins up right there, and you might want to take a look at your knife. And if you've got that issue, just seal it up with something. Keep the moisture out of it. Here is a profile if you do want to see that in case you want to do some board work. So it'll get fairly high and a little bit of belly towards the tip and fairly flat towards the rear. About the last third, I guess. So this should make a nice knife from the the heel to tip slicing standpoint because of the curve at the tip. I used the 270 Gyuto and I was really happy with that. And the back half of that blade performed really well. I would think this one would as well. Decided not to use this one, but it should be a really nice workhorse Suji. So there you have the Kohetsu Yo or Western blue number 2 Sujihiki 270mm knife.